chapter 3 today and do a few problems to get ready. But on chapter 3, we're going to be taking trigonometric properties and manipulating them until we get what we want. Okay? So we'll be solving trig identities is what we'll be doing. But to get started with that, we need to know how to solve trig equations. Okay? So, and trig expressions. So today we're just going to solve a few trig expressions. And to know how to solve trig expressions, we need to know what certain trig expressions are equal to each other. So, such as, I need to know that the tangent of x is equal to the sine of x over the cosine of x, which is something that hopefully you knew going into today. You need to know that the cotangent of x is equal to the cosine of x over the sine of x. You also need to know that the tangent of x is also equal to 1 over the cotangent of x. And the cotangent of x is equal to 1 over the tangent of x. And that the secant of x is equal to 1 over the cosine of x. And the cosecant of x is equal to 1 over the sine of x. Another fun fact is that sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1. The tangent squared of x equal to 1 plus secant squared of x. And the cotangent squared of x equals 1 plus cosecant squared of x. So let's look at some examples of what we're going to be doing. Let's say I have the cosecant of x over the cotangent of x, and I want you to put it in terms of sines and cosines and simplify. Well, if I tell you to put it in terms of sines and cosines and simplify, what does cosecant become in terms of sines or cosines? I just had it right up here. What is cosecant equal to in terms of sines and cosines? 1 over sine of x. So you're right, 1 over sine of x. What's cotangent equal to in terms of sines and cosines? Cosine of x over sine of x. What type of a fraction do I have? A complex fraction. To simplify a complex fraction, most of the time in here we'll take the both the numerator and denominator by the denominator of the denominator. These cancel, these cancel. So I get 1 over cosine of x. That's this written in terms of sine and cosine is this. Let's do another one. Let's do let's simplify this thing. So, if it's already in terms of sine and cosine, we don't change it into something else. So the numerator of the first one is sine of x. What does the denominator of the first fraction become? Cosecant is 1 over sine of x. Secant is 1 over cosine of x. Now, we have complex fractions. So let's multiply by the denominator of the denominator. So multiply this by sine of x, this by sine of x, this by cosine of x, and this by cosine of x. These cancel. So I get sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x. Because sine times sine is sine squared. Cosine times cosine is cosine squared. And that's how you write sine squared and cosine squared. And what's sine squared plus cosine squared? Did we say a little earlier? 1. So this whole thing simplifies to be 1. And that's the type of thing we'll be doing in here. When you see 2 sets of parentheses like this, what do you think? The 4-letter F word. Foil. Exactly. Cha! Come on! Get your mind out of the gutter. Foil. F. O. I. L. Spells foil. 1 times 1 is 1. Outers is plus cosine of x. Inners is minus cosine of x. Last times last is minus cosine squared of x. What happens to our middle terms? Cancel. So I get 1 minus cosine squared of x. And you think, yep, I'm done. Nope, you're not. Because we can simplify it just a little bit more. Remember that sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x equals 1, correct? So if I subtract cosine from each side, it moves to the other side, right? So what's 1 minus cosine squared going to equal? Sine squared of x. Sine squared of x. Okay. Okay. On this one, I could, if I wanted to, change it to sines and cosines right away. But then I get fractions, and I don't want to mess with fractions yet. So I'm going to FOIL first. And then I'm going to see what I come up with. What's cosecant times cosecant? Cosecant squared of x. Outers and inners are going to cancel. These are conjugate pairs. And conjugate pairs always have the outers and inners cancel. Last times last. Minus 1. Cosecant squared of x minus 1. Did I screw this up? Did I screw up what I told you? I think I did. I did. I'm done. Tangent squared plus 1 equals secant squared. Cotangent squared plus 1 equals cosecant squared. I screwed this one up. So fix those. It's tangent squared of x plus 1 equals secant squared, and cotangent squared of x plus 1 equals cosecant squared. So this one, knowing that cotangent squared of x plus 1 equals cosecant squared of x, if we subtract 1 from each side, I know that cotangent squared of x equals cosecant squared of x minus 1. Well, that's what this is. So this is equal to cotangent squared of x. And if we want to write it in terms of sines and cosines, it would be cosine squared of x over sine squared of x. And that's written in terms of sines and cosines. Okay. So on page number 165 of your books, you'll be doing 7 through 14 all. The one day you don't bring it. The one day. So you've been bringing it every